哦，
哎呀，啊，自诩绝世无双的圈子，现在是欺负对手了。但是吧，经啊，不是需要个字。
Okay.
I
Hi
don't know.
there. Can you hear me? Hello. Can you hear me? Hello. Can you hear me? Hello. Hello. Tom, are you there? How to change the, there you are. Okay, so you're there. Can you unmute yourself for a second? Are you there? All right. I'm two. Okay. I just don't know how to make you the host. Do you know anything about Zoom?
Yeah, what do you mean?
I want to turn him into the host.
Let's see if you can change the host. No. I don't know much about Android. There you go. Where's the option? There's an it's a different view with the menus. So it's going to give you some menu options or is there anything more down there? Okay, no, but we're getting close. Okay. Meeting settings. Meeting topic. Show name. Usually you can see the other person. I know if it wasn't in this, you could right click on them.
I know, yeah. Hi, Brad. How are you?
Thank God, pretty well.
I'm trying to figure out how to make you guys the hosts because I have to go back to my meeting. And you guys have to, great. Okay, so I just made
Thomas,
Tom,
right?
yep, and now I'm gonna do the same thing for you, Brad.
Oh,
So Brad, how do I do that? Do I just click on him? Pushed hard? Okay, great. And then,
maybe
Yeah, tell me so
Okay.
I'll know too.
okay. So Tom, are you there? Okay, so you are now the host.
Tom is.
Can you try it? Yes, Tom is the host. Tom is the New Jersey Coast Section Computer Chapter. Are you vice chair? Are you secretary? I can't remember, Tom. Thank you. Thank you. It's very kind of you. I'm going to drop off and Tom will call me back if there's any problem. Tom, can you go unmute yourself and say hi to Brad? Okay. Brad, just to let you know, I am now at the congressional meeting in Washington, D.C. with IEEE USA. So that's why I have a surrogate person.
Okay, I've got, I believe I've turned my mute off. So Brad, can you confirm that you can hear me?
I can hear you now fine, yes.
Okay. So Tom, are you able to co-host with Brad?
I hope so.
Get somebody, your voice has got a tremendous echo in it.
Who, me? Yes. That's because I'm on the phone too. Tom, have you turned off the phone connection? Okay. So now you should have.
All right. At this point, the phone connection has been hung up.
Yeah. So now we don't have a problem with the echo, I think.
Yeah, I think it's much better now. Yes.
Excellent. So now, Tom, can you make Brad a co-host?
Maybe. Let me see.
Well, it's the one we need to make co-host will be Shlomi, Professor Dolev.
exactly. Is he there yet?
I don't see him yet.
Okay, okay.
Sarah, his assistant, is the one who takes care of everything. You have to know Professor Dolev like I do.
I'm really grateful that you do know Professor Dolev. So
I know a lot of great people. There's so many people in the department. It's unbelievable.
Is this at NJIT?
At Ben Gurion University.
I see. Okay, so yes, I think I'm looking forward to scheduling some more such meetings. But I'm just thrilled about this one from today, and I'm sorry I can't be here with everyone.
I've got some more friends there. I have a desk there, and I do research. I'm also a professor. I don't know if you knew or not.
No, I'm getting to know everybody. It's really wonderful. So it's nice to meet you.
Well, thank you. Likewise. Our group in Phoenix is really something. Jerry's a real wizard on cryptography.
I'm really grateful to meet up with you folks, and I'm glad that you guys have decided to collaborate with us because it's really very meaningful for all of us.
We also, I've invited a couple of groups on the West Coast too. Something Hills in Ontario, California.
Oh, fantastic. Well, one of the nice things is that the Computer Society has given us a much bigger Zoom.
Hey, thanks for starting the recording. Well, whoops, gotta switch over to my glasses so I won't be able to. Well, good day to everyone, wherever you may be. It's 12 noon here in Phoenix, Arizona. It's 10 o'clock at night in Israel. So my name is Jerry Crow. I am the chair of the Phoenix Arizona chapter of the IEEE Computer Society. On the meeting today, we have Brad Marantz. Dr. Marantz is the vice chair, and our presenter is on. I will let Dr. Marantz introduce him, since those two are located about 20 kilometers apart in Israel. We've been in existence here for a long time, and we meet 6 times a year in the even-numbered months on the second Wednesday. Our next presentation will be in June, and then another one in August, and then the last one in October and one in December. So that's our schedule. We're still working on our programs for the rest of the year. And I don't think there's anything else to say, chapter business. I will now turn the meeting over to Dr. Brad Marantz, who will run the meeting. He's our vice chair. Take it, Brad.
Okay. Yeah, by the way, Ben Gurion from here is only about 3 or 4 kilometers.
Oh, I thought it was.
It's pretty close.
I thought you were farther away from that.
No, in fact, I'm in a town that is almost all professors. And that's a joke that Professor Dolev can even tell you. Professor Dolev is the chair professor at the IEEE Fellow and EAI Fellow, founding chair of the Department of Computer Science at Ben Gurion University of the Negev, which has got, the department now is absolutely huge, gigantic, tremendous stuff is getting done there. He's affiliated with New Jersey Institute of Technology, served as faculty of natural science, dean and chair of the board of the Inter-University Computation Center, the first ISP of Israel. He is the Computer Science Discipline Committee chair of the Israel Education Ministry, published over 400 publications in computer science, distributed computing, networks, cryptography, security, optical and quantum computing, nanotechnology, brain science, and machine learning. Professor Dolev authored the Self-Stabilization book published by MIT Press. He's a serial entrepreneur, the co-founder of Secret Double Octopus, SecretSkyDB, post-quantum security for data in rest, and SodsBC, post-quantum fastest blockchain. That's quite a bit. And also he's head of the committee of the group to take technology and projects from grad students and professors and actually commercialize them. And that's why the book, The Startup Nation, was written, because they work so hard. There's so much, they spin off research and actually get commercial product and get it out there. And it's amazing to see what's been accomplished. And Professor Dolev can talk to you about some of this, and hopefully we can even bring him back again to talk about that. Professor Dolev, the chair is yours. The floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So it's my honor to be invited to talk to you, and I will just try to also tell you about the strange names. Because... 1 minute. Do you see it now?
Perfect.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm a professor in Ben-Gurion University, but also Brad mentioned Secret Double Octopus, SecretSkyDB, and SodsBC, and I will tell you the story. And overall, there is an opportunity because the internet must be somehow changed. The infrastructure, security infrastructure, it was not designed to cope with quantum computers. And this is an opportunity to take a look on the entire architecture of the internet security and maybe change it to something more stable. As you know, cybersecurity is a big problem. Maybe because when we started the internet, it was like very innocent in a sense that I would look to my advisor, whether he's in or not, but there was no application for banks, no application for, it started very, very, you know, not so important if we take aside the army applications. And overall, it becomes part of our life. We cannot live without it. And then the security infrastructure that was somehow built on the fly when there was a need, it should be re-examined. And as you will see, there are some problems with the security. And maybe there is a time to do a revolution. So let me just tell you about the internet security infrastructure in a nutshell. So we have the same base. What is existing now? So there is a symmetric key encryption, and this is the basic of communicating information, so no one that listens can understand, and the other side will be the only ones that understand. So in some sense, having the same key in both sides not only enable encryption and decryption, but also make sure that there is authentication between the sender and the receiver, because they know that the other guy is the one that sent it, or the one that can receive it is the only one that has the key. So there are several, you know, schemes. Like the most popular one is AES, Advanced Encryption Standard scheme, but you can think about it as maybe even a pseudo random sequence made of the same seed in both sides, and using the sequence that is produced as a one-time pad, a pseudo one-time pad, and that's storing the messages with this sequence. So the other side store it back. So this is, you know, some notion for students. If I want to tell them how it can work, everybody know how to use to produce a pseudo-random sequence by using the seeds and the random function in the computer, so it can be implemented immediately without understanding too much about AES. The problem is that we want to share this key. And of course, we can have a key party. We'll meet in some classroom, and every two of us will just have a seed that is shared between us. And then we verify the identity of the other side. And from this time on, we communicate safely with the one that we wanted to communicate with. But you know, a key party is good for students or for some, you know, friends, but it's not scaled to the internet. It's not something that we can take to be applied to the entire internet. There is an issue of how many people will talk with each other. And usually you talk with several people, not with the entire people in the world. And there is a, you know, also n squared versus n options. Maybe you can take some central entity that you just have a key with it, and then this entity has a key with another entity that you want to connect with. Then it becomes ON, because once this entity produce a key with you and produce with the other parties that you want to speak, you can communicate directly without this center. Of course, this center is an issue. You don't need, you don't want some single point of failure. So let me continue about this. So to solve this and eliminate the need for a key party, there was a public key infrastructure that used some number theory in a way that you can somehow produce a key from the thin air by communicating with the other side. You can think about it if you want, like I have a box, I put some lock to the box. Inside the box, there is, of course, the keys that I want to send to the other side. I send it to the other side, it puts its own lock, send it back, I remove my lock, send it back, he removes his lock, and then he can open the box and see the key. But all this is just for, you know, rough description. Of course, everything is done with discrete log and some other mathematical tools that allow this exchange of key between two parties with no key party, and across the internet, and now we can communicate with anyone, creating this symmetric key and then moving to communicate with a symmetric key, as I told you already before. The problem here is very, you know, fundamental, the problem of man in the middle. Because I want to speak with someone and exchange all this protocol with this one that I want to later have a shared key, but I have no clue whether I speak with this one or somebody in the middle that plays in the other side. And this is a real problem, because how can I identify someone? If I am in a key party, I see this person, but across the internet, messages goes and come back, and you never know whether you speak with the right person or you established a key with someone else that you didn't want to talk with. And you know, there is a way the man in the middle can be very sophisticated in a sense that he can play with you your bank. Is not your bank, but he will play with you your bank, forwarding all your messages to the bank in a way that you get an answer from the bank, but the keys that are established between the man in the middle and the bank is independent of the key established between you and the bank. But he just replay what you send in some sense and establish two keys, one with the bank and one with you. And in this way, you can show you your balance, you can see everything normal, but at some point he can intervene and send commands that you didn't want to be sent, maybe taking all your money to his account. So there is a story of that I like to talk about, to tell about man in the middle. there was some person that said that he can be a very good winner in chess. So what he will do, he will take two famous or good players and let one start playing with him, and whatever the one that started playing with him do, he does to the other guy. The other guy's answer, whatever this answer, he answered to the first guy. So at some point, some of them win, and he can also be, better than someone else. So this is some kind of man in the middle intuition on how can you play and still nobody understands that you are not doing something, that you are doing something that it's transparent. You don't, nobody see it. So there was this idea of problem of the man in the middle. It's not a small problem, it's a very big problem. And then we needed something called certificate authority. So in fact, identifying someone, a person or entity like a bank, it's not an easy task. You somehow, if you want to identify a car, take two cars and now start changing their doors and then changing their seats. Eventually you change all the car and the identity stays. So it's a very delicate issue how to define an entity and to give this entity a number. This is a public key. And this is done, very, maybe humans are involved in this, some lawyers, so they can give you a signature that they verified your identity and your public key and somehow make them monolithic in a way that you cannot spread them out and replace the public key or replace the identity. So they can write, oh, this is a picture and this is the birth date, this is the address and so on, and this is the public key, and we sign it all together. So nobody can replace the public key number and be a bank or be something else instead. So this is, some certificate authorities had very hard problems because they have also a private keys that is used to sign these certificates. And some of these private keys were stolen. And once you stole a private key, you can, of a certificate authority, you can become any bank, anything, because you can sign it. But even if these events happened,
I have to work on that.
sorry?
What?
Somebody wants to ask somebody?
No, David Milhaven, please mute.
So yeah, so what I'm saying is that there is no alternative. So even if the private key of a certificate authority was stolen, they still didn't go out of business. They somehow initiate a public and private key, and even though they did a lot of damage, they still survived. And as I told you, they use digital signatures, and they have a risk that their private key is stolen. So if you look at some famous people that look at it and say that all these encryption schemes will be broken, and of course, maybe we don't know everything. Maybe some of the schemes are broken and nobody telling us. Of course, there are some, standard requirements that you cannot use too long keys. So as you know, nation security, the nation would like to decrypt messages if there is a risk to the nation. So this is some kind of balance, but still, you know, there are many cases in which schemes were broken, and this is really a problem. Of course, as the computer's capabilities grows, the scheme should be more complex, maybe using you know, larger numbers, so it will be still hard to reverse the one-way function that is used here. Okay, so let me just tell you more about it. And let's see. 1 minute. This is Adi Shamir. He is from RSA. He is the S from RSA. And see what he's saying.
But this just continues a long line of previous attacks. I don't know how many of you have heard about the various attacks on certificate authorities. So there were the older attacks on Commodore and the Notar, etc. This year there was very interesting new development. It was revealed that one of the certificate authorities abroad, namely Turk Trust, that's a Turkish national certificate authority, admitted that by mistake it issued two high-level certificates which enabled the government-affiliated organizations in Turkey to impersonate Google. So I think that you will see more and more events like this where certificate authorities which are operating under pressure from governments are going to behave in strange ways. And this really brings into light the question of whether the basis of security, the PKI, is under severe strains at the moment.
Okay, so you understand that even the inventors of the schemes know that it's not, it's really shaky in some sense, and so maybe there is a need to rethink about it. So let me tell you what happened that make the revolution more actual, and this is the appearance of quantum computers. So I don't know if you know about quantum computers, but once you get used to the way they work, it looks like a computer. When you started and study for the first time that the computer works with binary, use AND gates and OR gates and NAND and NOR, it looked very strange. But eventually what happened is that you get used to it. So the same happened here.
A classical computer performs operations using classical bits, which can be either 0 or 1. Now, in contrast, a quantum computer uses quantum bits, or qubits, and they can be both 0 and 1 at the same time. And it is this that gives a quantum computer its superior computing power. There are a number of physical objects that can be used as a qubit: a single photon, a nucleus, or an electron. I met up with researchers who are using the outermost electron in phosphorus as a qubit. But how does that work? Well, all electrons have magnetic fields, so they're basically like tiny bar magnets. And this property is called spin. If you place them in a magnetic field, they will align with that field, just like a compass needle lines up with the magnetic field of the Earth. Now, this is the lowest energy state, so you could call it the 0 state, or we call it, for the electron, spin down. Now, you can put it in a 1 state or spin up, but that takes some energy.
If you took out the glass from your compass, you could turn the needle the other way, but you would have to apply some force to it. You have to push it to flip to the other side. And that is the highest energy state. In principle, if you were so delicate to really put it exactly against the magnetic field, it would stay there.
Now, so far, this is basically just like a classical bit. It's got 2 states, spin up and spin down, which are like the classical 1 and 0. But the funny thing about quantum objects is that they can be in both states at once. Now, when you measure the spin, it will be either up or down. But before you measure it, the electron can exist in what's called a quantum superposition, where these coefficients indicate the relative probability of finding the electron in one state or the other. Now, it's hard to imagine how this enables the incredible computing power of quantum computers without considering two interacting quantum bits. Hello, hi. Now there are four possible states of these two electrons.
You could think that, well, that's just like 2 bits of a classical computer, right? If you have 2 bits, you can write 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, right? There's 4 numbers. But these are still just 2 bits of information, right? All I need to say to determine which one of the 4 numbers you have in your computer code is the value of the first bit and the value of the second bit. Right? Here instead, quantum mechanics allows me to make superposition of each one of these 4 states. So I can write a quantum mechanical state, which is perfectly legitimate, that is some coefficient times this, plus some coefficient times that, plus some coefficient times that, plus some coefficient. So to determine the state of this 2-spin system, I need to give you 4 numbers, 4 coefficients. Whereas in the classical example of the 2 bits, I only need to give you 2 bits. So this is how you understand why 2 qubits actually contain 4 bits of information. I need to give you 4 numbers to tell you the state of this system. Whereas here I only need 2. Now, if we made 3 spins, we would have 8 different states. I need to give you 8 different numbers to define the state of those 3 spins. Whereas classically, it's just 3 bits. If you keep going, what you'll find is that the amount of equivalent classical information contained by n qubits is 2 to the power n classical bits. And of course, the power of exponentials tells you that once you have, let's say, 300 of those qubits in what we call the fully entangled state. So you must be able to create these really crazy states where there is a superposition of all 300s being one way and another way and another way and so on. Then you have like 2 to the 300 classical bits, which is as many particles as there are in the universe.
But there's a
Okay, so there are some notion of superposition of entanglement and you know, as a way the values collapse when you read them. All this is part of the life that you get used to when you start and understand what is going on in quantum world. So let me tell you what is the very important application of the capability of quantum computers. Of course, you in some sense represent all possible 2 to the n values with n qubits at once, but you cannot compute on all of them and then eventually get the result. When you read, you get one of the combination. And all the quantum algorithms try to make the probability of the answer to be bigger, so when you collapse the state, you get the answer. And there are no many algorithms that can succeed in that. So there are Grover algorithm, Shor algorithm, very famous ones that succeed in do something like that. One of them is related to RSA and Diffie-Hellman, and this is Shor algorithm. And I will tell you, they can find somehow how to break the discrete way. So this is another guy, Bruce, that is very famous in cybersecurity.
Odd question, but I'll take it.
Hi, Bruce. My name's Damien. Hi. I was hoping you could talk about the advancements by NIST in quantum computing and the risk to public key cryptography.
All right, quantum computing is interesting. Quantum computing, it's largely theoretical, right? We have a quantum computer.
This is all the talk. Of course, now we have some that claims that they have hundreds of qubits. But let's continue.
Odd question, but I'll take it.
Hi, Bruce. My name's Damien. Hi. I was hoping you could talk about the advancements by NIST in quantum computing and the risk to public key cryptography.
All right, quantum computing is interesting. Quantum computing, it's largely theoretical, right? We have a quantum computer we've built that factors 15, I believe. Maybe it's a little bit bigger now, but there's a sort of a theoretical way of doing computing that's non-Newtonian, where things happen in parallel. And the question you ask is, what the hell good's a quantum computer for? It's not actually good for a lot, but it turns out that the easiest thing a quantum computer can do is factor large numbers. And the second easiest thing it can do is discrete log problems. So basically, a quantum computer is a public key cryptography killer, right? That's its core application. Against everything else.
So you understood the motivation now, right? The infrastructure is at risk, and there are some ways to look at it. Some that are doing very narrow changes, like replacing RSA and Diffie-Hellman with some NIST approved or chosen mathematical replacement, like some mathematics that is based on lattices or other functions. So this is one way to look at it, but there are other opportunities to make a bigger change. For instance, the appearance of blockchain may be a replacement for certificate authority, because blockchain is not a single point of failure. All we need some way to verify the identity of someone and the public key of this entity, and this can be stored in the blockchain like a phone book. And the one that is has an entity, the identity can look once in a while and see that his identity is still correct. And of course, all the participants in the blockchain can also check every block that inserted with new certificates, meaning entity and digital and public key, that this is indeed the entity and the public and that submitted it. So this is something that is more scalable, more distributed, not single point of failure, and somehow more democratic in a way. So it's an opportunity that comes with advancement of the internet that wasn't there before. So let's look what can be done. Okay, so maybe we can go back to, all one-way functions are not proven to be a one-way function, and they are the base for asymmetric encryption. They are based on assumptions that say P not equal NP or something in this family. And maybe we can go back to something that is proven, like, that one-time pad, when you have a string of bits that is infinite and everyone is random, when you XOR something with this string and not use it twice, then it's perfect encryption, because every bit that you encrypt as a probability have to be 0 or 1, because it can flip or stay, and it becomes like a white noise, and therefore it's perfect. And you can think about it, even the red line as it was between the US and USSR was using one-time pad. So there was some agents that would go with a copy of some booklet with strings that is identical to the other side, and we use it to encrypt the messages, and this was very safe. Others that try to do something even to take some fiber optics under the sea so they won't go through a country, they risk that submarine will come and will tap in and will just decrypt the messages that is going on. So it's not a game, it's really a big issue, and you have to be very careful. So let me tell you about how to take information theoretical secure primitives and use infrastructure that already exists to make something that is more secure. So think about, again, this is something that Adi Shamir did. It's called secret sharing. And this is a very useful idea. It says that I can share with all of you some secrets so that any 3 of you will know the secret, but less than 3 know nothing. And the idea is that I will just have a polynomial and give points on the polynomial, and any 3 of you can interpolate the polynomial and get the coefficient of the polynomials, and then we'll know the value of the polynomial in 0, or the free coefficient of it. And this is a secret. So look, think about the line. If you have 1 point on the line, you know nothing. But if you have 2, you know everything. So any 2 of you can just reveal the secret. Of course, it's the degree of the polynomial plays here. If it's linear, then 2 are enough from all the audience. But if I want 3, then maybe I need a polynomial of degree 2, and so on. So it's tunable. And this is also proven as information theoretically secure scheme. So we don't need to worry about one-way functions and the existence of them that is not proven. So let's see what I told you about the polynomial. So if I give you a point x equal 4, y equal 4, you don't know how to plot the line. It can be in many directions. If I give you your best friend another point, x equal 2, y equal 2, he won't be able to draw the line. But then if I let you communicate, then you know exactly that this is a line, and you know that the secret is 0. Okay, so this is something useful. So it's beyond encryption and all this, and it's quantum safe and has redundancy. But how can you use it to make communication, right? So, for instance, if I want to send my credit card number to some of you, I will ask for your business card and put it in my contacts, including the email and the phone number. And I will send you a random string as a SMS, and the XOR of the random string with my credit card number in email. So Google won't know my credit card, and the phone company won't know my credit card, but you will know. So this is very useful. Always when I want to send my credit card, I'm afraid that somebody in the middle will know. But in this way, only the endpoint will know. Okay, of course, I have to make sure that it's your email, your SMS, and then we either have history or we go to the blockchain and find this information if it's correct. So this is more or less where Secret Double Octopus started. Let me show you.
Secret Double Octopus provides a high assurance authentication alternative to passwords, which works across all enterprise resources. To log in, a user simply provides a username. This initiates a request sent from the company's server or cloud to the Octopus authentication server. Now this is where the secret sharing magic happens. Octopus authentication server creates different shares, each useless by its own, and sends them over multiple communication channels to the user's device. An attacker will need to hack all channels simultaneously in order to reveal the secret. The Octopus authenticator brings strong authentication to each and every login with a clean user experience, eliminating all the hassle and risk.
So of course, I don't need to think only on a credit card. I can think about a random number that I will send you in this fashion, and then what will happen is this random number will becomes a symmetric key that we share, and from this point on we can continue and talk securely and even authenticate each other, because the key continues the authentication that was initiated. Okay, so another technique that is very important to cope with quantum attacks is SecretSkyDB, which is using secret sharing to the next capabilities, which is secure multi-party computation. I don't know if you heard about this, but what nice in secret sharing is that once you have a secret that is somehow distributed among all of you, I can compute over this secret. So say that we have a line that I just encoded with points given to each of you, and then I have another line. Maybe the first line is some represent some income that I had, and I have another income, and I give you a second line by means that each of you get another point. And I want in the end to have a summation of these incomes. And apparently, if you add up your y coordinates, each of you independently, you get a line that is a combination of these two lines that cut the y-axis in the sum of the incomes. And this is very useful because I can add numbers without revealing the input and without revealing the output to the participants. So cloud can do some computation for me without knowing anything about the input and the output. Okay, so this is secure multi-party computation. And now the example is similar in the sense that I have two friends, and one has x equal 1, the other has x equal 4. And this is your x is fixed, because if I want to add something, I have to make sure that it's related to the same x. But the y's are changed. So let me see. These are the two secrets. Now the x equal 1 got a blue y and a green y. And the x equal 4 got also a green one and blue one. The order is different. The green is lower than the blue. But when they meet, or when I read what they have, I get that the green secret is 2 and the blue secret is 0. Okay? Now I tell them, okay, please add your y coordinates. And they add it to the red one. So this 1 plus 2 equals 3. And this 2 plus 4 equals 6. So now I have the red points 2. And if I connect the red points, I get it that the answer is 2, which is 0 plus 2. So you see that I can somehow superposition the two lines and get the answer. Of course, everything is done in finite field, but just for illustration, you understand that I can add the secret, the Y values, and get the results that I need in the field. So it's interesting to say that it's not only addition, I can also multiply the Y coordinates and get the right result. Of course, when I multiply the coordinates, the degree of the polynomial is the sum of the degrees, the original degrees, and then I need more points to reveal the answer. So I need more participants that can assist me with their point to get the secret that is created. And once I know to add and multiply, I can do any computation. And this is very, very nice because I can do a computation when the participants do not know the inputs nor the output, but they do what they do the computation for me. You know, I can be sure that clouds can do something for me, and I don't have to worry. Okay, so this is what we did. We take in SecretSkyDB, we take these secret shares across different cloud suppliers. Of course, how can someone be sure that there is no curious guy in Google that would like to look at my records? So it's very not convenient to think about losing the ownership of your data. Even if Google decides to erase everything or not to give you access to it, it's a very, you know, disturbing thought. So if you have 3 and any 2 of them are enough, then it's feeling much better. But you don't want really to put all your, say, teras of information, photos or whatever, in such a secret share forms, and when you need something, you have to read all the teras. So what SecretSkyDB IP is doing is allowing to search for something in this secret sharing without, of course, they don't know what they have because everything is points on linear, on some polynomial, and also the query is also points on some other polynomial, but still we can multiply and add and eventually get the answer without taking any, you know, more information that we need to get in the answer. So we don't get teras, we get only the record that we wish to get. And the clouds do not know what we search, where we search, but still give us the answer. Of course, this is very useful, not only to keep the data ownership, but also if you think about ransomware, if one of them is attacked, you don't care. You just take the other 2, reconstruct, and now have different randomness so that whatever was taken is not part of the points of the new lines. So it's redundant and is not useful. So all this technology is in SecretSkyDB, and of course we do some ports to say MongoDB or Redis, so you don't really know that you know that something is hiding later on in the clouds. You think that you work with one server, and this is very useful. Okay, so the next component, we have something here for data in transit and data in rest. And I told you it's very important to have a Web3 as part of the security infrastructure, which is now somehow not only web pages, but also some consistent, agreed upon information that is checked and always updated, but never erase anything. So this is, blockchain is connected to cryptocurrency, to many coins, but it is by itself, it's a technology that can take and support like certificate authority replacement or trace of supply chains and many other things. And we were successfully doing blockchain that is post-quantum. We used, again, secure multi-party computation, secret sharing ideas to get consensus that is very efficient. And in this way, we get to visa speed performance, which is very important because you want to do with this real, to support real applications of today. And of course, it is somehow distributed algorithm that involves consensus. Consensus is very important because you want all the good guys to approve that the new information is valid before it is inserted to the chain. And consensus is a problem that Byzantine consensus even is not easy. You have to use randomization to cope with failures and with malicious behavior. There is deep theoretical concepts and techniques that are involved in SodsBC and in consensus overall. A lot of literature. It's very tricky. Sometimes there are some proofs that even one processor that doesn't participate can block the progress of the system. And then there are proofs that you need some randomization. And then there are proofs that if you have more than one third or more malicious participants, then they can cause damage to the entire decisions. So all this developed theory came into the consensus of blockchain that we designed in SodsBC. And we are lucky that we got performance that are visa speed. And the idea that we did is having something called verified secret sharing, and using this verified secret sharing that every participant is doing as a pool for randomization for the consensus, and using the consensus to help define the next randomization quota from this verified secret sharing. And also we have some smart contracts where the participants are executing the smart contract without knowing the business logic data, and still they are doing the contract. The participant of the contract do know, but the participant or the servers that execute it have no clue because they use everything in a secret shared form. Okay, so this is a part that I had to reach, but now I can continue. If there is time, I can continue.
We have time.
Okay.
The people are interested. It's quite intriguing and where it's going for the future.
Okay. So let me tell you about key distribution problem. So I told you about the problem that quantum computer cause, but there is also an opportunity when we have a quantum technology, and this is a quantum key distribution. There are many companies that will provide devices that are used to share keys between two endpoints using quantum elements that are transmitted from one side to the other, qubits in superposition. And I will tell you how it works. Of course, they are limited to, say, 80 kilometers or 100 kilometers of fiber optics, because once they get to the point that they collapse, that's it. Of course, there are some now technology for producing repeaters and so on, but the pure concept is done on a single non-stop fiber optics for 80 or 100 kilometers, something like that. This is limited. And let me tell you how it works. So we want to send from Alice to Bob a key. And of course, you know, this is once we have a key, we can switch to AES or to something else. Just taking the key party and have a key, that the symmetric key between two endpoints that are connected to the fiber optic. Of course, there is also the risk of somebody listening in to the fiber optics, and then if this one tap in and get the key, he can continue and tap in to understand all the conversation. So this is very risky, how to share a key, so, and be sure nobody listening in. And what happened that eventually people use the superposition of qubits to understand whether someone listened in while the key was transmitted. And this is fascinating, because how can you know that somebody listened in? What happens is that if you send something in superposition, a qubit in superposition, if you don't read it right, it collapses. Not in the right coordinates, it collapses, and its value is really, you know, either 1 or 0 with equal probability. So what Eve is doing, Eve is trying to read it too, and if she doesn't read it in the right coordinates, she causes some collapse of the qubits, so it is later identified by Alice and Bob. So let me show you okay, this is a illustration that is useful. It appears also in the internet in many places. So look at two bases, basis A and basis B, of when Alice sends, she decides randomly which base to use, either the blue or the brown. Okay, and then she sent in this coordinates, the blue or the brown, she sent either 0 or 1. So you see that there are 4 squares, 2 are 0, 2 are 1, 2 are blue, and 2 are brown. And what happened when she sent the first bit here, it was brown and it was 1. Then she said, send this one, which is blue, and maybe this is 1, 2. And this is 0 blue, 1, and so on. Now, Bob has no clue on what axis she decided to send. He chose randomly, either to read it in blue or in brown. And what happened that he is correct enough of the time. Okay, so if you see that when she sent here, he didn't read in the right, she sent 1, 1, 0, 1, and so on, but he was not lucky to read this one correctly. This one he did read in the blue excesses, and he got 1. So you see the V here. This he also was lucky to read correctly, and he read 0, which what she sent. And here he didn't read correctly, so the value is unknown. We really don't know. And so on, when he reads correctly, he reads the actual value she sent. When he reads wrongly, it's some random number. After they finish the communication, so Alice, in some sense, send, say here, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 bits. She tell him, okay, that's it. Now we tell her, okay, I use the X's as, for the first one, I used blue, then brown, brown, blue, and so on. She tells him, okay, you were right in the second one, in the fourth one, and so on. So he and she know where they were lucky to choose the same excesses. This doesn't reveal any information to Eve, because she just knows that these bits that they communicate now, communicated before, and now agree that they read it and send it in the same excesses, are good bits that arrives from Alice to Bob, but she doesn't know what the bits are. And why she doesn't know? Because if she reads in the middle, then good bit, maybe she reads here this bit that is very good, but she reads it in the wrong axis, maybe in the brown axis. Then it collapses. When it collapses, the value that arrives to Bob is not anymore 1. It can be 0, 2, because it already collapsed with the arbitrary value. So if they check that this is 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, then they have a very high probability that nobody listened in. But if they find out that there is or how can they find out? This is the question, right? So they sacrifice some of the bits. They say, okay, I have here 2, 4, 6 bits that should be correct. Let's choose this one and this one and this one and send it, you know, from to each other in the air, broadcast it. And Alice know what she sent in these bits, and Bob know what it received. So they should have a fit. If some of these bits is incorrect, then Eve were collapsing it before it arrived to Bob. You know, there is a rough probability that she collapsed it in the wrong axis, and they will discover somebody listening. Of course, you can do it with many more bits than 10, but for the concept, you understand that they somehow can find out whether somebody listening. So what we did in this work, we made not only 2 excesses, but many more. And then Alice, if she want not to collapse, she had to choose from a variety of you know, coordinates, and it make it harder for her to escape with not being noticed. And there is a way for Bob not to choose a random access, but instead we found a gate that will just, without knowing the access, just flip it from 0 to 1 or 1 to 0, or leave it as is and send it back. Now Alice that knows the access that she sent the qubit, she now measure it correctly and see whether Bob flipped it or didn't flip it, and then she knows the key, because the key is defined by Bob by whether he flipped or didn't flip this bit. Well, we have this, it's a paper that you can look at, and it's also copies weak measurement. This is some way for Eve to read without collapsing, but get less information. So it's very interesting how the quantum worlds look like. I still have more, so let me continue. So what next? So there is also a need for some kind of signature that is also post-quantum. And lately we did some hash-based stateless signature, and this hash-based stateless signature using primitives like AES or SHA that are believed to be post-quantum. They are not a function, natural function like discrete log or breaking two prime numbers, but it's some kind of engineering that it's using XOR and permutation, replacement, and so on, and repeating it. And since it's not some natural function, it's relaxing a bit, because maybe there is some solution for a natural function, but this is something that is artificial. And another work that we did is using entanglement to coordinate operation between two sides. And you use some kind of robots that will get entangled qubits. You know, the Chinese will send entangled qubits from a satellite from very far away locations. They will send one to, say, Shanghai, one to Vienna. And when these qubits arrive, they will collapse so that they produce, in some sense, one-time pad in both these sides. And once you have one, sorry? Once you have one-time pad, it's like having a key, and then you can be sure that you can communicate safely between these two sides. And we use it somehow to even have a public key distribution among groups, not only two participants, but among groups. And this can coordinate random walks of two sides, and even not one entity, but groups of people that will just coordinate their actions by this entangled qubits. Entanglement is very surprising. They collapse at the same time, and if somebody can see it, it will be faster than the speed of light. But for observing it, you need to communicate between the two sides, and then it becomes, the speed of light again. So this is very intriguing phenomena that can be used in the future for sure. And here I will stop here. I have more to tell you, but it's too much for too much information, I think, for one session. Thank you.
Yes, our brains are overflowing now from all of the information. Extremely interesting.
Thank you very much.
We thank you for presenting all this information, and this time for some questions. Anybody have any questions? we have no questions here. If you could stop screen sharing, then we could see if anybody maybe raised a hand or something. On your thing, if you go onto reactions, there's a raise hand. Anybody have any questions, please raise your hand.
Well, it seems that I was very clear. Or not at all. There's two options, right?
There was an awful lot of information there, and it left. I mean, the quantum entanglement is really heavy stuff, and
But
it's very
once,
heavy.
but once you understand what you can do with it, it's like a tool, right? Like bits in the computer. It's a logical entity that does something. There are also something that has to do with the teleportation, that you can do teleportation of qubits without reading it. And it can be somehow in superposition, and it is teleported to the other side, and it keeps the superposition that it was in. And it's very interesting because somehow we are made from all these entities that are in superposition, and we can move in teleportation to somewhere very remote.
Yes. I don't think anybody has any questions. I mean, we're here.
Brad, we do have some questions in the chat.
Okay, well, then let's bring them out.
What are some time frames for when you can?
Yeah, he wants to know, what do you think it's gonna be fast enough for the current systems to be useless? Yeah.
So I heard that there is some company in California that declares that they have soon 100 qubits quantum computer, and this will make a big change. Of course, you really don't know what some other competitors have and don't tell you. Maybe the Chinese have already such a thing, and they can decrypt the internet communication, or maybe if you wait to move to quantum safe protocols, the current communication can be revealed later on, and some of the contract of the army are now requiring that everything will be post-quantum because they want it to be kept safe for a long time. Do not risk the possibility that it will be revealed very soon or in few years. So yeah, I cannot tell you for sure, but I hear that in California they are going to have 100 qubits, and if this is the scale, then it can be more even because they know how to eliminate noise and so on. So this is promising for us. The quantum computer have capabilities to help us too, not only risk.
Go ahead, Brad. There's still some more questions in the chat there.
Right. Well, as far as this is being recorded, and it will be on the IEEE, will be available. And the slide deck, that's Professor Dolev would be the one who can provide you the slide deck.
Yeah, let me check, please. If you want to send me email, I will write my email here. And just I will figure out what can be sent and so on. I just write my Gmail address. It's easiest. All this spam is a big issue now.
Well, Sarah is very efficient and she can get it out to people as well.
Yeah, but I want to know the people. So it's an opportunity.
Well, Brad, I think let me thank you, Dr. Dolev, very much for this excellent presentation. What an
Thank you
overall
very much.
information. As Brad said, I've been a crypto guy ever since I read David Kahn's book, the Code Breakers. He just passed away about a month ago too, also, but that's what got me started on crypto. So
It's I think that it's a lot of puzzles and also where theory become practice.
Yep.
It's very nice in that sense. So I like it very much. Okay, so I think I say goodbye, right?
yeah, go ahead, Brad.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you very kind. We really appreciate Professor Dolev spending his time staying up this late. And
Yeah.
it's 11:15 here in Israel right now at night. So we
Yeah.
really appreciate his staying up and giving us this presentation because it was extremely interesting.
Thank
And
you.
it's the things that are not something, it's not history, it's what we're going to look forward to, what's going to be coming, we'll be seeing this in the future. It's very, very, very important stuff.
Thank you very much. See you
Thank you
all.
again.
Please come
Bye-bye.
visit Israel and Be'er Sheva. You will be hosted very well, I can tell you. Brad knows I have falafel and everything. Right?
Right. Well, we have to do that again.
Yeah. Okay, so let's hope for better days around the world.
Yes,
Yes.
indeed.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Thank you, Dr. Dolev.
Bye-bye.